Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode of the Weekly Compass, we're going to take a look at the energies for November 30th through December 6th. So we are officially entering the last calendar month of the year. So a couple of things I just wanted to mention is on the 30th, we do have the Gemini full moon, which is significant because it is also a lunar eclipse. And so I just want you to be aware that that could bring some energies of something being eclipsed out. So something ending possibly abruptly, or something kind of fading out that needs to fade out. But generally, it's something that you were somewhat aware of that needed to end. So just be aware of that. It could also bring something new around communication that could create a great change within your life. So it's kind of like communications coming in that shed some light on, something that helps you to move forward at a greater, with greater awareness and much more quickly. So that's very, very possible. With the 3 energy, we start this week on the 30th. So that is a 3 energy in numerology. And so I really feel like there's going to be a lot of focus on communication. That's coming in really, really strongly. So let's see what the week holds. So I did pull an animal spirit card to kind of get an overall energy. And we got Wolverine spirit. And it's interesting because Wolverine says, you're a lot tougher than you think you are. And so I think that's really important to keep in mind when it comes to, again, if there's anything sort of being eclipsed out of your life, if there's any major changes, to bring it back to self and really recognize your strength and how persistent you are as a soul having a human experience and how resilient you are. So Wolverine says you're a lot tougher than you think you are. So give yourself some credit. As we move into the beginning of the week, it's interesting because I'm definitely seeing this energy around communication. And so it's like there's the possibility, and you get to choose. There's the possibility for the energy to go in either extreme. So it's kind of like your communication is blocked and you're coming across as kind of defensive, or the person you're communicating with or people are sort of approaching the situation in a defensive manner. And there's kind of this potential for chaos or discord or communication breakdown. And so I feel like it's going to be up to you to decide, okay, I'm being misunderstood. I'm not being heard. I need to approach this differently, because you have the power to sort of bring the situation back together, to find the middle ground, to, again, make sure that the other person is understanding what you're saying, or what, whether it's through writing or text or actual face-to-face communication. But there's this really big focus on communication and the potential for misunderstandings to come in and how you're going to handle or react to that. And so will you become overly frustrated with the person or the people and take offense to it and become defensive or reactionary? Or will you understand that, the wires may easily get crossed at this time? And what can you do to sort of untangle them? And so again, it's kind of like, what is your approach going to be? Because I do feel like how the communication comes in and how it is received will determine the path that you take or the path that this relationship takes. So communication is really, really key. So again, this is an opportunity to check in with the person or the people, make sure that they are understanding what you're saying, make sure that they are, whether they agree with it or disagree with it, just make sure that you are being heard and understood. And then the same for the other party. Make sure that what they're saying, you're fully understanding and you're fully listening to it, like you're hearing what they're saying. And then you can make that decision based off of the accurate information on how you want to move forward. So again, beginning of the week, communication is crucial. I'm feeling that really, really strongly. And again, it's sort of like whatever kind of road it takes, whichever extreme, right? Or if you can find the middle ground, that's really going to have an impact on whatever this is moving forward. So if there's communication breakdown, then there's the potential for chaos to ensue. If there's you working with the other party and them working with you to kind of find common ground and make sure that the communication is clear, then there's this possibility for equilibrium and balance and things can run smoothly. So it's going to fall on your shoulders as well as the shoulders of the other person, but you really need to put in that effort to make sure that you're being heard and being heard clearly and accurately. Then we move into the middle of the week, and it's interesting because for those of you that are in a situation where something is sort of being eclipsed out, and this doesn't have to happen immediately, but it kind of feels like, because sometimes with lunar eclipses, it's sort of like those non-negotiable endings. It's kind of like a contract has ended and it's usually pretty abrupt. So it's kind of like I use this example all of the time, but it's kind of like, you're having tea or coffee with somebody one day and then the next day they find out they're moving overseas and it's immediate. And then that relationship sort of fizzles out, but sometimes it's much more abrupt and dramatic. So if that is something that you find occurs for you, just understand that, more than likely you have known that this was coming or that it needed to happen or whatnot, but understand that what it's leading you towards is sort of more self-discovery and clarity and independence. So this may be around something that's sort of been keeping you or giving you a false sense of security or a false sense of stability. And kind of like you've become too reliant on whatever this is. And then in it falling away, you are sort of forced to find your own resiliency and your own strength from within and show yourself what you're capable of. And so remember Wolverine's message, which was, you're a lot tougher than you think you are. And a lot of times we don't know our own strength until we're being asked to use it. So again, for those of you that this is relevant and you do find something sort of being eclipsed out, then I feel like it's an opportunity where the universe is saying, you doubt yourself here, let me show you what you're capable of, right? Or you feel inferior here, let me show you what you're capable of. And so again, it's through those experiences and having to step up to the plate that we become aware of how strong we actually are, right? And like what we're capable of. So if we just continue to cling to those things that make us feel safe, then we never really have to flex that muscle of independence, of sort of our own strength. And so I do feel like this is an opportunity to do that, whatever this is, however it comes in for you. If it's around relationships, if you become too needy on the other person, if you become too attached, a lot of times when we get into a space where we are too we don't feel capable or we feel like we need the other person or the other thing, that's often when we see that it fall away. Because again, we are meant to be shown how strong and independent we can be while also using the external resources, the people, all of that as support, but not as a crutch or as, again, out of need. So again, interesting energy is midweek. But I do feel like whatever's coming in, whatever you're sort of being asked to walk away from or whatever you are needing to release, it's an opportunity for the universe to show you or for you to show yourself what you're capable of, how resilient you are, how strong you are, and again, how resourceful you are. So try to see it for what it is and find the positives in it and pull the wisdom and the strength from the experience. That's where you're going to get the most enlightenment from the experience, right? And you're going to be able to move forward without anger, resentment, whatever. And then we move into the end of the week, and it's actually really, really beautiful, balanced energy. So it's almost like whatever was sort of eclipsed out or ended or released or whatever kind of struggle you kind of had to overcome midweek, And it could be that you're just starting that process, right? Like some of these bigger things in our lives don't happen, in the blink of an eye. It's something that we initiate, we start to experience, and then it's a journey. And so I do feel like, whatever this begins for you in the middle of the week, towards the end of the week, you've sort of found your footing a little bit, and you've found that sort of physical balance, your own balance, right? And in finding that balance, you've also found some level of joy. So it's kind of like no matter what the chaos is on the external, we can always tap into our internal joy. We can always tap into our inner tranquility, our inner peace, our inner calm. It all has to start from within first, and then it can be translated to the external. So again, it's like if we start clinging to the external to bring us what we quote unquote need, then we are always sort of subservient to the external, and we never uncover what, the infinite love and peace and joy and all of that from within, because it's kind of like, where are we getting our resources, right? Are we tapping them from within, so then it's unlimited, or are we looking to the external to provide them, and then we're constantly in need, in a state of survival, right? So it's interesting. I find this opportunity or this energy coming in at the end of the week for, there might be chaos on the external, but it's this opportunity where the universe is trying to show you how to tap into that internal reservoir, that internal joy and calm and peace, right, amidst the storm. So that doesn't necessarily mean that there needs to be a lot of chaos on the external. It may be that something comes in for you externally that just brings you a lot of joy, and you're able to really tap into that. But it's also about finding that inner balance as well, because that inner balance will translate into outer balance. And so, again, I do feel like opportunities will come in for you that sort of test and challenge you, but that's just, again, Wolverine and the universe reminding you that you're a lot tougher than you think you are, and you are a lot more resourceful than you think you are. And I'll tell you, once you figure out how to tap into that internal space that is that joy, that is that inner calm, that peace, that tranquility, that love, that inner love, right? Once you're able to tap into that, then it becomes where what's happening in the external is sort of just irrelevant. It's really like you don't need the things to work out in the external before you can find that inner balance, before you can tap into it. So it's kind of like a shift in energy. And then that's something you carry with you for the rest of your life. So I feel like for many, this week is going to be, offer up different opportunities for you to start to really remember sort of how worthy you are, how strong you are, how resilient you are, that you have access to that inner child, that inner joy, right? At all times. It's just a matter of breaking through the ego and tapping into the soul. So interesting energies this week. Again, beginning of the week, we've got this opportunity for communication, breakdown in communication. How are you going to make sure that the people you're communicating with, that those communications come through, heard and understood, and vice versa. And then midweek, we have this energy around something kind of falling away or being released, but to offer you clarity to find your own independence. And then feeling really fruitful in that independence, right? And then again, end of the week, there's this opportunity for unlimited joy and happiness and balance. But again, I have this feeling like it's going to be the universe sort of showing you how to tap into that internal reservoir so that you always have access to it, so that it never runs dry, right? And you're no longer waiting for somebody or something from the external to give you that harmony, okay? So again, I see this as sort of the beginning stages, the beginning process. So pay attention to the experiences that come in for you this week because they are showing you something or trying to show you something. And ultimately, they're trying to show you that you're tougher than you think you are. And then once you see that, once you recognize that about yourself, then that's something that you'll always carry with you. Even when self-doubt comes in, you have that to fall back on. You have that inner strength to fall back on because you've seen yourself do it, right? You've seen yourself unleash it. So really powerful energies this week, really beautiful energies. And again, because it's an eclipse, this can be the starting pattern for some of these things, and then we start to see them continue to be sort of unlocked and unleashed throughout the next 6 months. So I don't anticipate that everything's going to happen at once this week, but you can kind of get an idea of sort of what the next 6 months may hold as far as the energies and what they're trying to show us, right? Again, it's all about going back within and tapping into those infinite resources from within. Okay, so I hope that it's a beautiful week for you. Happy December, and I will see you all again very soon. Take care. Bye for now.